Okay, everyone. Hello. I hope you guys have had a lovely Monday so far, but we've got a lot of ground to cover today, so I'm gonna get us started. Just a brief reintroduction. Hi, I'm Pranati. I'm one of the instructors of this wonderful decal, and I'm so glad to see all of your faces today. All right, so let's start out with some announcements. Hey guys, we're getting started. Pay attention. Thank you, Charlie. We're starting with some announcements. So this is our first real week of lecture and discussion. So like Brianna and past instructors have talked about last week, the way this class is actually structured is you'll have a lecture on Monday where it's mainly just you guys are going to listen and follow along with what I'm doing here on the screen / what anyone's doing here on the screen. And then we'll move to discussion on Wednesday where you guys will basically be doing problems, working together. It's a little bit more collaborative in nature. That does not mean that, if you guys have any questions today or anything, you feel free to interrupt, feel free to ask, feel free to talk, all those things. Yes. This week, we're going to be focusing on GitHub. GitHub is very useful, but tends to be kind of really challenging to set up. So that's why we're going to try walking you through it as clearly and cleanly as possible. Okay, homework 2 was released today and is due next Wednesday. And then obviously we have the late due date. You get 2 weeks, no penalties, but especially for this homework, we highly recommend you get it done as soon as possible because the longer that you don't have your GitHub set up and all that stuff, it's just gonna take way longer later. You don't want to like snowball effect this. So please come to office hours if things don't work. And if you have any questions, we are here to help and answer. These are our office hours. They are also available on the B courses. So this is where you can find us. If any of these times don't work for you, you have any questions, we've got Ed, email, reach out. We are always here to help. And there's also a lot of us, so I'm sure you can catch one of us. All right, let's do a little review. It's okay if you don't have a piece of paper, but I want you guys to take a second, try to work with the people around you and define these following command line commands that you guys should have learned last week. And then also tell us what these different data types are. And then tell me 2 ways to run Python code on the terminal. I'll give you guys like about 3 to 5 minutes, come up with whatever your thoughts and answers are, and then we can discuss. Have at it. Hey, I hear conversation kind of dying down, so I'm going to use this as an opportunity to start talking through some of our answers for these questions. Does anyone want to share what PWD does? Anyone? Yeah. Yeah, PWD stands for Print Working Directory. It basically tells you where you are in your system. It's very useful. Sometimes things get confusing. You don't know what directory you're in. You don't know where your files are, where you are. That's what's going to help you every time. Let's keep going. LS. List. I heard it from someone somewhere. Very straightforward. Just gives you a list of everything that's in your directory. All your files, all your folders, all your photos, everything. CD. Change directory. Lovely. This lets you move from one directory to another. mkdir. Make directory. Lovely. You just make yourself a nice folder. Nano. Yes, so Nano is a text editor that's inbuilt into your terminal. If you type in Nano, you can basically create a text file. That's sometimes super useful if you want to just create a Python script inside your terminal and just execute it right there. So, yeah. All right, can someone help me with defining these following data types? What is a string? Yes.
Like it's a word.
Basically a word. Anything that is, yeah, you just put it in little quotation marks, words, numbers, anything, as long as they're in quotation marks, they count as a string. Integer, that's kind of self-explanatory, but can someone tell me the difference between an integer and a float? I feel like that's a better way. Yep.
Just decimal places basically and numerical numbers.
Perfect, exactly. So they're both numerical data types, but integers don't have decimal points, floats have decimal points. When we start coding, you'll realize that the different data types are really, really important, and sometimes like a missing decimal point will cause lots of errors, so be very, very mindful. And then what are 2 ways to run Python code on the terminal? Yes.
There's Python 3 in the terminal. I think the second one is like DS code, but I don't know if that's actually the second one.
I also don't know clearly what the answer to this is, but I think you're correct of in the sense is one is you just type in Python or Python 3 depending on your terminal and what Python you have, and then the name of your file, .py, whatever, and you run it. And then if you have I don't know. Does anyone know?
Script.py, and that I think that works. No,
Okay. I'm unfamiliar. Does anyone else here know? Charlie? No? Okay. Mhm. That's true. So sometimes if you just type in Python in your command line, what you'll have is you'll see an indented block that has 3 dashes, which means you're now working in Python. You can execute Python scripts there. Otherwise, you just type in Python 3, the name of your Python file .py, and you can just execute it. Okay, cool. Oh, the answers are here. Sorry, guys. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was it. Basically what we said, one is you just call the name of your file, or otherwise you open the Python terminal and then type in the code directly in the terminal or command line. Sorry, I keep calling it a terminal. I should call it a command line. Okay, so today we are starting with Git/GitHub. As I said earlier, these are notoriously difficult and very not intuitive. But the good thing is, once you get the intuition for them, you will never forget them for the rest of your life. And all your future employers will be very, very grateful because then they don't have to teach you GitHub. Yeah, advice, just keep practicing. We're going to give you a good amount of practice with this class. You will see it used time and time again if you guys do anything related to coding because it's kind of a standard to use. We have this wonderful file called the GGG, the GitHub and Git and GitHub guide. It's on B courses. Anything comes up, feel free to use that for reference. Also, all these slides and materials will be posted, so you'll have all that. Okay, so the way GitHub works, I don't know if you guys got a brief explanation of what it is, but it's basically, in a sense, the best way that I've heard people describe it and I describe it is it's kind of like a Google Drive / Google Doc, but for your code. So the way that it works is you basically write up some code, you put it on GitHub, and GitHub saves that code. But now let's say you want to edit that code, make changes, you edit them on your local system, and then you have to put those changes onto GitHub to save them. To do that, you use 3 different important steps. First is git add. So like I said, I made some changes on my computer. I'm going to add them so GitHub knows what to look for in my computer, being like, I made all these changes. Git commit basically is like hitting Control S on your work on your system. So not on the GitHub website, just on your personal computer. It's just like saving your edits and your code or whatever. And then git push is what's going to save our work remotely. That's when you push it to GitHub and it just stays there for you to use /reference. So it's just a really good way of managing your coding projects, managing any code. Also, the good thing about GitHub is it's very collaborative in nature. And yeah, these are probably some good, useful words that we will be using a lot of times. When we say local, we mean on your computer, on your machine, on what system you're using. When we say remote, we just mean on the internet and not locally. Wait, it's going backwards. Hold up. Oh my God. Sorry. Cancel. Okay. All right. So our first step is going to be doing something called initializing a local repository. A repository, you can think of it basically as a folder that's on your computer, but that's also on your GitHub. So that's what you use to put all your files in that will save between both. Yeah, so like I'm saying, everything we're going to talk through today, you will have to set up once and never again for this class at least. You might want different repositories for different projects or different things that you're doing, but if you're just using it for the Python decal, you're going to have one repository where you do all your stuff and we set it up just in one go. But there are some steps that we're going to see specifically on Wednesday, and we talked about a little earlier, the add, push, commit stuff. That is what you're going to be doing every single time you make changes to your code. So once you set up your folder or your repository today, it's good to go. Oh, yes.
If at any point you run into an error, please raise your hand so that one of us can help you, because it's a lot easier to troubleshoot now and we can probably save you a lot of time and tears later tonight. So yeah, don't be afraid to raise your hand.
Yes.
Maybe it's not directly about the tears.
Definitely not.
Paying attention to your hand, we can come to you.
Yes. Also, yeah, obviously, all of the screenshots on these slides are of an Apple device's terminal. So if you're on Windows, it'll look a little differently because number one, please open up Git Bash and not PowerShell. If that, you guys should have all installed that. If that does not launch for anyone, please tell us like right now ASAP. So do that. Take a second to open up your terminal if you're on Mac or on Git Bash if you're on Windows. And also, fun thing, if you're on Windows and you're like using this a lot and you kind of get sick of it, there's a way that you can like put your Git Bash as like the default on your terminal. I can show you how to do that. Just come to my office hours. Does everybody have this window open or something that looks like this? Show of hands, yes, no. Okay, cool. I just want everyone on the same page. Okay. So last class and also in your first homework, we made this folder, which you probably either named with your name or whatever you chose to name it. So hopefully everyone has that folder. Yes? Another temperature check on that? Okay, we're good. So first thing we're going to do is going to use our cd command. The cd command moves us from our home directory into our directory of choice. So I want everyone to take a second and move to their directory that they created for this class. So you do cd and the name of your directory. In this case, my name is not Brianna, but this is Brianna's. So her name is Brianna and her folder is called Brianna. So she did cd Python decal fall 25, which is where her first directory is. And inside there, she has a folder called Brianna. So that's what she's moving into. Is everyone able to move into their directory that they made? Yes. Okay. Yeah, today's going to be a lot of following along with what I'm doing and saying, just because we really want to make sure we all set y'all up well. Okay, if there's any questions at any point, feel free to raise your hands. Our instructors will walk around and help. Okay, so something that's really cool that I don't know what types of computers show this or don't, but to me, I see it. If you look in your terminal right here, you can usually see where you are. So in this case, we changed directories to be in the Brianna folder. So it tells me that I'm in Brianna. This is just a good sanity check to make sure you're in the place that you think you are. Okay. So now let's just call pwd, which is print working directory, in our terminal inside our working directory, which is Brianna. So cool. So when you do that, you should get an output that lists the content of your directory. So if you have any files inside your working directory, it will just print that. Oh, sorry, I forgot the first sentence of that whole thing, which is type in ls and that will print out everything that's inside your working directory. So if you've started homework 1, it should have your homework 1 in it. If you haven't, please start homework 1. Not right now, but after this lecture, hopefully. Is this working for people? Are we feeling good about how to, yeah, cool. All right, so our first step in creating a GitHub repository, you're gonna type out the command git init. This just means git initialize. It's just being like git show up right here, so I can start making a repository. And like I said, a repository is a directory or a folder that just has version control. Version control is basically just being able to save your changes and look at past changes and whatnot. Okay, does this work for everyone? Regardless of Windows or Mac or anything, or Linux, if you're on that, all good? Okay, let's keep going. So, in theory, you should have gotten this message when you tried to initialize your repository. It just says, hey, your repository currently has nothing in it because we haven't actually put anything into our Git repository. So what we need to do, like I said at the start of this lecture, is basically every time we do something, whether it's create a new file, make changes to existing files, delete things, we need to manually save them. Otherwise, Git will not know what's going on. So that is just an explanation of what that's saying. So do not panic if it's like, it's empty, I don't know what's going on. Cool. And now basically, you see how the end of this file path that's printed has a .git at the end? That's basically just saying there's a new folder that Git put on there being like, hey, this is now going to be a Git repository. Make sure you look for it. So the fun thing though is if you call ls, it actually won't show up. It's what's called a hidden folder. So if you just try calling ls, you actually won't see the Git file. Do not panic, it's still there. But you can use this command called ls-a, which basically forces list to show everything in there, regardless of whether it's hidden or not. I don't actually really know CS-wise what a hidden folder is. I just know it's a folder that ls does not recognize, or it's not visible when you initially print it out. So everyone please try this command and see if it actually prints out your files like this. Is this what's showing up for people? Okay. Yes.
It shows them a bunch of other stuff.
Okay. Yes.
I don't have the like DS.
Okay. That is a Mac thing. It's okay if you don't have it. It's not relevant. You're fine. You're so okay. I also am not super familiar with everything. But yeah, the most important file to have is .git, and your homework file if you have it in there. Yes. Have what on your Mac? I don't know. I'm so sorry. I actually have no idea. Maybe. I'm sorry. I don't even really know what it is. So. Yeah. In general, though, does everyone have the .git? Lovely. Okay. So something that's always super, super helpful is knowing what is on your local repository versus what's on your GitHub. We haven't gotten to the GitHub step yet. Let's not worry about that, but you just want to know what's on your local repository. Because sometimes you've made like tons of changes to your files, tons of edits, done a lot of folder moving, and you're just confused. For that, we use this command called git status. So type in that command, git status, and it will just tell you the status of your directory. So it'll show you what files you have changed. Sometimes it'll show you like the number of lines you added, number of lines you deleted, things like that. So everyone take a second and type in git status. Let me know if it works. Okay. Hopefully when you print out git status, it says something like this. So firstly, we have something called on branch main. Basically on GitHub, you shouldn't have to worry about this too much right now. But the way that it works is it's like you can store things in different branches. You can think of it like a tree and it has different branches. You can put things on different branches. In our case, we're just setting up one folder and we're just putting it on our main branch. So we're not worrying about different branches. Branches are super useful, specifically if two people are doing work on the same code file and like they're making different changes and you want to do that separately and then you want to put those changes back together, which is called merging. Don't have to worry about that either. You'll run into that plenty if you're using GitHub anywhere to do collaborative work. But for now, we're on the main branch. That's it, super simple. And then you'll see no commits yet. That's because we haven't told GitHub to save anything for us yet. We haven't put anything in anywhere yet. It is just there. Like we just have an empty folder that has nothing saved in it. And also, yeah, so this is a pretty good explanation. Our repository is acting like a directory. It's basically just a folder. Nothing's online yet. And then here you see this thing called untracked files. So let's say that you had your homework 1 file inside that repository, but it's in red and it's saying untracked. That just means GitHub sees this file, but is currently not tracking it for any changes or updates. It just knows that there's this file there. To tell GitHub to actually like save and like look and track that file, we'll be looking at that super soon. Yeah, so the line right under that, the use git add, is basically like a little hint. It's telling you like, hey, if you actually want to save this file, this is how you do it. Again, I will walk you through that, so don't worry too much about it. Sometimes code likes to be helpful and tell you what to do, which is nice. Yeah, so like I said, this is just Git saying, hey, you have this file not saved. Now let's talk about actually saving our code in our files. Yes, so super important. The terminal might look different for basically everyone. Everyone's system sometimes is set up a little differently because of things that you have done on your computer, and especially if you have not done homework 1. I personally, other instructors can choose to disagree, but I think if you have not started homework 1, maybe don't follow these slides right now because that might just lead to issues. Do listen and do look, and then obviously these slides will be available. So yeah, but hopefully you've had a homework 1 file already. Okay. Yeah, so we just looked at this of like, hey, it's telling you to do this thing called git add. So there are 2 main ways to call git add. The first is git add space period. That's basically saying, hey, GitHub, look at this folder and save all the files in this folder, or save my updates to all the files in this directory. And then you have git add with a specific file. So that's just telling GitHub, hey, just save my changes to that one specific file. Don't worry about everything else in the folder. Sometimes that's useful if you've like made progress on a certain part of a project and like you have other parts of your project where you want to keep them in that version. You can have GitHub only update certain files.
Has anyone, this is no shame, not started homework 1 and doesn't have a file and doesn't know how to make the file? Raise your hand and I will come and make a file for you. Cool.
Okay.
If you see me coming around, raise your hand again so that I can help you, okay?
Okay. For those of you who have those files, I'm going to keep moving forward and chug along. Okay. So what we're going to do first is everyone just try calling it git add space period. Please remember the space, otherwise it'll yell at you and say that it doesn't exist. So let's try that. Does that work? Does that run and nothing appears? Is this what things look like for you guys? Okay, cool. So do not be worried if nothing appears. This is actually a good thing for git add. It just means like, hey, Git saw those files and they added them. It added it. So you're good. Okay, we're feeling good. Any questions about just how to run git add? All good? Okay. So yeah, so this is basically Git tracking those files. Now it's moved them to an area which it calls the staging area. It's basically like collecting all of your changes and staging them for you to push them onto the internet or onto GitHub. Oh, I should have changed slides. This is basically exactly what it is. Git tracking means it knows your files exist and it knows what changes are happening in them. And then the staging area is basically any last minute changes. You can put a little message telling GitHub like, hey, this is what I'm doing. All that stuff is done in the staging area. Now, everyone call Git status. So is this what people are seeing? It looks a little bit different than before. Has the same components, but things are different. So firstly, we still see on branch main, which is good. We're still putting everything on our main branch. And then we see no commits yet. That's because we've just added our files. We have not committed them and we have not pushed them to GitHub. They are just being tracked by Git. So we haven't changed branches. We have not completely saved our files either. They are just added. So if we want to unadd any files, you could do that like right now, just in case like you added the wrong files or anything's weird. This would be the right time to do it before you push them to the commit stage. Questions? Okay. To do that, you can use git rm, which is git remove. I will say be a little careful and be a little specific about when you're using this and for what files you're using this. But you can always check git status. It'll tell you exactly what files exist in the add stage and which ones don't. So git remove will basically let you unadd or untrack those files. In our case right now, we want to track all the files that are in our folder. So we're just going to proceed. No git removing. But if there's any questions that come up with that at any point, you can always let us know. Okay. So yeah, so this last line just says clearly like, hey, we have this new file inside my folder, which is homework1, and it's called homework1.py, which is like pretty accurate. That's exactly what's going on. It'll also show things like this number of lines added, this number of lines removed, these files deleted. That will all show up here. So sometimes it's a good thing to just sanity check to make sure you're saving and committing what you actually want to. Okay, so now our next step is calling git commit. Git commit basically is like hitting the Control S on your local repository. So what you can do is type in git commit, and then you always want to attach a message to your commit. That's basically it's more useful for you, honestly, being like, this is what I'm changing in my code, or these are the files that I'm adding, just so you can also know what exactly is going on with your code. So you do git commit -m space message in quotes, and message can be like, in this case, you could do like, yeah, saving homework1, or basically anything that's descriptive. Yeah. So everyone try this. Also, it's picky about spaces and things, so make sure you have the actual spacing and capitalization all down correctly. Okay. Did that run for people? No. Okay. That's probably just telling you your message might be funky, so maybe try that one more time. Did that work for anybody? Okay, worked for a few of you. That's so exciting. Okay, lovely. If any questions pop up, of course, keep raising your hands. We'll come around, keep going. All right, I'm gonna keep moving forward. Now, Git is gonna give you a really long message. Sometimes code is really, really like unnecessarily like a lot of lines, but what it's telling you is, firstly, that Git committed things to the main branch, because it says main root commit initial commit. So it just says, hey, I'm committing this, or I'm going to be saving this onto the main branch. And then, yeah, it also says, it gives you a commit number or like an ID number. You guys have a message that you typed in, but sometimes if you want to actually look at like the exact Git commits, you might need that ID number. You can find all of that on your GitHub. So you don't need to like remember those or anything. It's just there because, as I said, Git is version control. It's like the same thing as like going into your Google Docs history and like reverting to a past version. If you need to do that, you need to know the ID number of the Git commit. Cool. And then, yeah, so whatever message that you put in, whether it's like saving homework 1, et cetera, that message will print out. And then this basically tells us what Git has now tracked or what updates you've made or anything. So in this case, it's saying you've changed 6 files and you've made 262 insertions, which is like maybe you wrote 262 lines of code or something like that, or I don't know, whatever. So yeah. Oh, it is 262 lines of code. Yeah. So 6 files, 262 lines of code, it'll show you that. Yeah. In our case right now, because we've never committed anything before, it's just showing you, hey, I've logged that there's 4 new files and there's 262 new lines of code. But if you are committing new things later on, it'll actually show you like a change compared to your prior version of code. And you'll see that basically the second time you do it, if you change like a line of code, it'll say, instead of insertions, it'll say changes or something like that. So yeah. And then basically, if you've finished homework 1, this is kind of how your repository will look like, where you have all the screenshots that you submitted plus your code file. So that's basically saying like, these are all of the different files inside this repository, which we're going to now put onto GitHub. Make sense? Cool? All right. Conceptually, any questions? And for those of you who are able to get this print, does this make sense with whatever folders are on your computer? Yes, no, okay. All right. Lovely. Now let's call git status one more time. And you will see something different. Hopefully you will see this message where it says, hey, I'm on the main branch, and it says nothing to commit. Remember before when we called it, when we just did the add, it said that there was something to commit. Now though, nothing to commit because you've already made the commit. You've already done the commit -m. Now it's clean. Your like initial working stage is clean. So this just means Git has actually effectively saved all of our work. Once you get here, you're usually like, yay, happy, yippee, we did it. And then, yeah, git log is another super helpful command that similarly will just tell you the like history of your folder. So when you run git log, it'll show you whatever commit messages you've had in the past with whatever branches those commits are associated with. So in our case, we made 1 commit to the main branch with whatever commit number. Again, that ID number that was given to you. You don't have to memorize it, but this is how you can see it. You can look through git log. Are people seeing this when they type in git log? Yes, maybe no. Okay, cool. And then you will also see if you set up your GitHub correctly, your email ID and whatever username is associated with your GitHub account. So yeah, that and whatever message that you decided to put in your commit. That'll show up in the lines right below the commit message and ID. Okay. Is that good for everybody? Do we want to take a second to help people out? Okay. All right. Now, if you have questions about any of that / things did not work on your computer, hands all the way up. What's up?
How many of you are stuck at the homework 1 file part? Raise your hand. Is it quite a few? Raise your hand. It's okay.
It's okay.
We'll go back if we need to. Okay. Because I made a lot of homework 1 files and everyone was stuck there. Okay, I can tell. So
So they have to add in commit? Okay,
There's no
I'm gonna.
difference yet.
What do you mean? Oh, like, what do you mean?
Yeah, because I was just making the homework files. So they probably can't use that sometimes. If anything, I would. I think this is.
It's also, there's still a lot.
Because otherwise, otherwise you're just gonna keep going and everyone's gonna have to start over at home anyway.
Yeah, this all the educational stuff will be a lot.
Right.
Fail to push the remote something. Okay. We are, yes, we are thinking, there is technically a whole other side on that remote repository. Like, which I think we should push to Wednesday. Alternatively, the split into half.
Yes. To be honest, I'd rather get everyone on the same page because I just make so many homework files. And like a lot of people have to come to add homework one folder. I think we start. I hope. So I think that's what we're better, just to come back, get everyone,
Okay.
give
So
them
then-
slow word. And then just tell everyone to go to the side, so, because there's so detailed.
Okay. So people who have that side of the- And then people who still working it. Yeah, they have the four fun.
They would rather continue or go back and get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, just because I know this went really fast and things might be confusing and different on people's laptops based on where they are with the homework, we're gonna just take a general consensus poll, whatever, to see what we want to do. I'm gonna ask everyone to put your heads down, just so, you know, we all feel comfortable about answering.
We're playing heads up 7-0.
Just so everyone can be comfortable and honest in what they need, and we can make sure we help everyone. So if you are feeling as though you would rather us spend the last 15 minutes of class right now working through everything that I just talked about today, please put your hand up. Okay, thank you. And if you are feeling like you need some time to like work on homework / catch up with other aspects of this class, also put your hands up. Okay, you can put your hands down. And if you are feeling like you would want to just keep moving with this lecture and like covering more ground, put your hands up. All right, thank you. Everyone can put your hands down and put your heads up.
Yeah.
So we are basically going to do just like a widespread Q&A / keep walking through things that we just covered type thing. If you have any questions, if you need any help, we're going to do that now, especially with GitHub / the homework one. If you're feeling caught up and confident and you're like good to go and you were able to keep up with everything today, you guys can head out. But please do stay if you guys need any kind of help, because we want everyone on the same page. Okay. We'll come around and help now. Okay.
Maybe, perhaps.
What?
The.
Where?